We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. Jones and Adam here with you for a weekend recap presented by Wells Fargo. Ton of Tar Heel action and information to get to. Adam, let's go ahead and get the ugly stuff out of the way first. Tar Heels unfortunately do not qualify for the NCAA tournament in men's basketball. Season comes to a close with a loss in the quarterfinal round of the ACC tournament. The Heels elect not to play in the NIT either, and so season's over. First time since 2010 that Carolina misses the NCAAs. Really
an unfamiliar spot to be in. I was thinking about it. I'm not sure in my tenure as a Carolina fan, I remember being right on the edge like that, where you're not sure going into the day, are the Tar Heels going to make it, are they not? You're right on the fringe, and then unfortunately do not. So that turns the page to next season because Carolina elected not to play in the NIT. Leaky Black, Pete Nance, we know their eligibility has expired, so they will not be on the roster next year. And now the task turns to Hubert Davis meeting with the other members of the 2023 team and finding out who's going to be part of the 2024 team. That's job one over the rest of March as Carolina tries to fix some of the issues that were a problem this year.
Yeah, Adam, I think it's fair to say an important offseason, certainly for the Tar Heels. They felt like they had a team that was better than what the end result was. Hubert Davis said all the time that his goal was just to have his team reach its full potential. I doubt anybody around the Tar Heels felt they did that.
I don't think they really felt like they did it as a team or as individuals. I think the individual awards would show that nobody really had the type of season they were hoping to at the beginning of the year. And then certainly as a team, we know, I mean, it looks like Carolina was one win away, and you could roll off a list of games where Carolina was very close to getting that one win that would have given them a chance this week to keep playing, but just never able to make those plays, and that's why the Tar Heels are going to watch the NCAA tournament from home.
Let's turn the page to the women's side of things. The Tar Heels under Courtney Banghart heading to the NCAA tournament, although, Adam, I think also fair to say probably as a lower seed than they expected to be. Carolina finishes the season in total. Remember, they've been done for more than a week now, but they were 21-10, 11-7 in conference play. A lot of good wins during the regular season. The prevailing thought was maybe a 4 seed, 5 seed at worst, and yet Carolina comes in as a 6 instead, has to travel to Columbus, Ohio. It will face the winner of Purdue and St. John's in the first round.
Yeah, Carolina felt like it had a real chance to host, which means you're a top 4 seed, and had really been keeping close tabs on that throughout the season, but evidently, according to the committee, fell just outside that criteria. That game against Ohio State, if that is what happens, and of course Carolina has to win a game before that could ever occur, that could be a great one. Ohio State's number 12 in the country. The Tar Heels have had some tough non-conference games this year, including some against Big Ten opponents. So that could be one of your better second-round games if it occurs, but both the Buckeyes and the Tar Heels have got to get a win on Saturday before it can happen.
Let's go from women's basketball to women's lacrosse. Tar Heels number 1 in the country and stay that way. They're now 6-0, 3-0 in conference play. Their latest win over Virginia, 17-12. The final score. Cavaliers are ranked in the top 10 in the nation. That game was tight after one period. Virginia actually led 6-5. Then Tar Heels went on a big run after that. And Adam, this is a team that is different than the undefeated national championship team from a year ago, but still very talented and competing and winning at a high level right now.
And finding a lot of offense from high levels. 10 different Tar Heels scored against the Cavaliers, including Caroline Godine, who has 3 goals and 2 assists. She's been playing really well. I think it's pretty impressive. Carolina's beaten 3 top 10 teams this year already by a combined 23 goals. So Carolina's not just winning and scoring a lot, they're beating really good teams. They've now won 46 straight regular season games in a row. That ties Maryland for the most in NCAA history. They've won 28 straight games overall. That includes the postseason. That's a new program record. And they're going to get tested in both of those coming up because the Tar Heels go on the road on Thursday to Louisville, but then big non-conference match on Sunday. They're at number 3 in the country, Northwestern.
From the women to the men, the guys ranked in the top 15 in the nation, now 4-2. 1-0 in conference play, stepped out of conference this past weekend, defeated Brown 19-6, had 9 different goal scorers in that one. Tar Heels jump back into ACC play Friday at 6 o'clock to take on Duke, and then out of conference again as they face Dartmouth on Sunday at noon. Both those games, again, Duke Friday at 6, Dartmouth Sunday at noon. Both those games are available on the ACC network. Adam, let's go from lacrosse to baseball. And mixed results this weekend for the Diamond Heels. Picked up a big win on the back half of a doubleheader against Virginia. But unfortunately had dropped the first two games of that series already. So really a game that they needed, but they did pick up.
So it was a weird series. You end up having to play a doubleheader on Saturday, and then the ace, Max Carlson, gets knocked out in the second inning on Friday. A very uncharacteristic start for him. I think you're not feeling great about things at that point. So then to come back and get the win in the third game of the series was a big one. Tar Heels got great pitching in that game. Jake Knapp goes 4 1/3, and then Matt Poston finishes up with 4 2/3. Tar Heels combined to shut out Virginia. That's the Cavaliers' first loss of the season. They were able to shut them out because of that pitching, but also because of some great defense.
This is an incredible catch. Let's go watch this. This is Casey Cook making this catch for the Tar Heels out in right field. Well hit ball. Cavaliers had a man on second. Even if this isn't a home run, it's going to be trouble. But Adam, how about that? Cook tips it off his glove. Not right there at the top of the wall. Maybe a homer, maybe not. But off the glove, off the wall, barehanded catch. That's big time.
That's when you understand Division I athletes are different than the rest of us, because if most of us run into the wall like that, like it looks padded, and so it looks soft, but it's not. Like, we're just prone on the grass waiting for help to arrive. Casey Cook just runs into the wall, looks up, finds the ball, says, "Oh, I'll just reach out my bare hand and grab that." You could tell kind of by the look on Vance Honeycutt's face. Like, Vance Honeycutt understood what a great play that was, and so did ESPN, because it was SportsCenter's #1 play on top 10 plays of the day.
Tar Heels go and visit Charlotte on Tuesday. Of course, the head coach of Charlotte, former Tar Heel, in fact, I think still all-time wins leader on the mound for the Tar Heels, Robert Woodard, the head coach of the 49ers. Then they host High Point on Wednesday. That game has been moved to 4 o'clock, so bumped up a little earlier in the day if you were planning on going on Wednesday. That is Carolina High Point, 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Then they travel to Pittsburgh for an ACC set this weekend. Let's talk tennis. Both the women and the men pick up relatively dominant victories this past weekend. The women are #1 in the country, 20-0 overall, 6-0 in conference play. That includes wins at Georgia Tech and Clemson this past weekend by the score of 6-1 in each one of those. Carolina really even played a little bit of depth in that victory over Clemson. Fiona Crawley, the #1 player in the country, didn't even play in the singles on Sunday, and the Tar Heels still got the win. Carolina now has a little bit of time off at spring break and then have a little bit of a break. They don't play again until March 24th and 26th when they make the Northeast swing in the ACC, taking on Boston College and Syracuse. Meanwhile, the men now 11-4, 3-0 in conference play. They had a non-ACC matchup this weekend against Wofford, dominated that one against the Terriers, 7-0 the final. They visit Virginia and Virginia Tech coming up this weekend. And Adam, gymnastics also getting ready for a big, the Eagle Championships coming up this weekend.
Tar Heel gymnasts coming off a quad meet up in Missouri where they were incredible on bars. We've been talking about their performance in bars all winter and now spring. They put up a 49.425 against in that quad meet. That's the season high for the Tar Heels, which, as you would expect, as the Tar Heels get ready for the Eagle Championships this coming weekend up at the University of New Hampshire. A lot of all-Eagle recognition for, Jones, what are they? The undefeated regular season champions.
Yeah, absolutely, back-to-back.
And as you see here, Elizabeth Colton on bars and beam, Julia Noer, Lolly Decanoise, all first-team recognition. Julia Noer, a great podcast. You should go back and listen to that one on the audio podcast.
Look at all the Julia Noer love there.
Getting a lot of
floor, all around, beam, vault, give it all to her.
Using all the Julia Noer poses that were in the archives there. Like, when are we ever going to use these? Oh, when she gets all Eagle and everything. So the Tar Heels with a lot of great recognition and a lot of good depth, and you see why they've been successful this year. A
couple young Tar Heels there, including 𝗂𝗄𝗏. She's a really exciting young Tar Heel gymnast. You see second-team All-Eagle, as well as Isabel Schaefer. Congratulations to all of them. Let's finish up quickly. Congratulations, 5 Tar Heels earned All-America recognition at the NCAA Indoor National Championships. That's track in Albuquerque, New Mexico this past weekend. That includes Parker Wolf, who was 5th in the 5,000 meters. Distance medley relay team finished 6th as well. And best of luck to, I think it's around a dozen Tar Heel swimmers and divers competing in the NCAAs this weekend up in Minnesota. Thanks for joining us here on the latest edition of the Carolina Insider.